Afternoon.
When you look at how your offensive line, your pass protected in the last game, you got some easy strides running the ball, but with Baker getting sacked multiple times the other night, how do you feel in the first matchup what the offensive line did and keeping Baker upright and protecting?
Well, I thought they did a good job of getting pressure on them and guys not getting open. They did a good job. They got a good front. It's going to be a tough matchup for us. Between Akeem in the middle and the two outside guys, they present a lot of problems. We got to do a lot better job running and throwing the football if we want to win this ball game.
Todd, what are the best ways to kind of replicate what you're going to have to deal with crowd noise-wise there in Detroit?
It's going to be tough. We can turn it up as loud as possible music-wise and have noise brought in and everything else, but Sundays are going to be at a whole nother decibel. So we're preparing for it. We got to have a few silent things ready, and the best way to do that is try to make some plays and keep them quiet.
What is it about your team that has allowed you guys to have the success that you've had this year on the road?
Mental toughness, guys playing for each other. You know, it's going on the road, everybody's around each other. We've been around each other. I think the trip that we took to New York in the summer when we had a couple of days up there with the Jets, getting to know each other, everybody spending time around each other. We got a little closer that way, but really just the grind of the season, going through some mental things, some adversity coming out on the other side, and just staying together to keep us together.
It was part of the game plan to put McCallum, at safety with what you were doing in the front and having him covered. Do you see him down the road as a possible safety, or I know you like his versatility. What does he give you when he's back there?
He gives us speed. He gives us versatility from a coverage standpoint. He's a willing tackler. He gives us matchups against tight ends that we would normally match up against very well.
Todd, to have 2 games in a row where you're playing teams you faced and lost to in the regular season, obviously they get the same benefit as well, but how much do you like preparing for a team knowing how they've handled your personnel already this year?
You really don't like it that much, especially if you lost, because you got to throw everything out and try to do some different things. You got to see how much of it was scheme and how much of it was mistakes in playing, and you try to mesh the two together and come up with something different.
How much of that loss to Detroit was scheme versus mistakes? If I remember correctly, there were missed tackles, I think, as well.
It was both. It was both. And we didn't coach it well, and we didn't play it well. It's never one without the other. We know we got to coach it better and get them in better position, and they have to make plays.
Do you see McCollum as a long-term option at safety?
Too early to tell at this point. I love him at corner. I like him at safety.
Obviously, Detroit's got a lot of weapons that they can hurt you with, but Amon-Ra, what do you see with him? He's a guy that he's going to get the ball, but still makes it tough to stop him.
Unbelievable. His stop-start, his route running, his aggressiveness after he catches the football, his quickness, his toughness. He's a Pro Bowl. He's an all-pro receiver to us.
Coach, we see you as a head coach every day, but you're also the defensive coordinator, and you have been since you had this job. What is that time split like for you, and how much do you still enjoy, being able to get in there and have those exotic game plans and things that you dial up?
It gets me in a lot early, I can tell you that much. I used to be a 5:30 guy, then I migrated to a 4:30 guy. Now I'm like a 3:20 guy, and you get a lot of work done in the morning. Still love that part of it. Still enjoy it very much. It's getting tiring. I'm getting old. I don't have that many years left in this league, but I still enjoy it.
How many years do you have? Because we've seen some coaches, Bill Cowher, Tony Dungy, walk away and they're still like in the prime, and then we've seen your mentor Bruce Arians coach until he was 70.
I'm not going to make 70. I can tell you that right now. I guarantee you I'm not making 70.
With you getting in there at 3:20 in the morning, what's the office furniture situation like? I know in your old room you had a problem with that, but those guys still coming in there to watch with you? Or?
That's an afternoon thing now. That's not a morning thing. That's an afternoon thing.
Would there be some sort of, you look at what the Patriots did with Belichick and Jerron Mayo, would there be some sort of succession plan in place, or maybe like Dave, if it was sooner rather than later that you would step away?
If I coached as long as him in one place and I had all that under my belt and my kids were out of school and already with me and I can put myself in his lifetime, yes, but for me, probably not.
Coach, can you talk about the focus level us against the world mentality, Bucs going into Detroit, play a football game, and go in and win.
I mean, we've had that all year long, so this is nothing new. Every time we go on the road, we feel like we're by ourselves and we got nothing to prove but to ourselves. Our narrative is the one we write. We've been going by that mantra since we've been starting the season, so this is no different. We're not going to make this game. Although it's a big game, the minute you stop doing the little things, you're going to make the mistakes and you're going to end up losing the ball game.
When you're game playing, Todd, do you feel like, whether it's the playoffs or just in general, like, I can't be the same? You know, like, everybody's seen so much on tape, and I know you have a lot of stuff, but are you one of those that you feel like you got to be different every time we play certain teams?
I don't feel like I have to be different every time. We get in there as coaches and we see what we can get away with based off what we got to protect. You know, you got to protect certain things as well. And we don't go in there and try to create and recreate football. I'm sure every blitz has been run, every front has been seen. And whether it was years from now or whether it's right now, we didn't create any of these plays. So we try to find out what best suits us and what best to defend against the other team. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but you're constantly trying to do things to win the ball game, but you definitely don't try to do the same thing you've done when you got your head beat in.
One of the things that worked for you last time against Detroit was shutting down the run, looking at 40 yards. Part of that was Montgomery getting knocked out of the game around the middle point, but what can you point to as to why you guys had success against Detroit's ground game, which is one of the best in the league?
I mean, I think they had some guys nicked up at that time, running backs, receivers, and offensive linemen as well, as did we. So you don't really know until they have their full arsenal. Obviously, they've gotten to be a lot better team since last we played them. We've gotten to be a lot better team since last we played them. So it'll be a good game on Sunday.
Obviously, there's been a lot of progress with this team since week one, but is there one area in particular that you think has had the greatest growth that's put you now in this position to be in the playoffs?
Getting the ground game going a little bit, you know, not just being stale every week, and getting the ground game going has helped the passing game. So
I don't know if we asked you in October about this, but you and Dan Campbell overlapped in Miami. Just want to ask you what you liked about him. What do you remember about him as a colleague?
Oof, I was in Dallas as a DB coach when he was a player. We coached together in Miami. Outstanding coach, very fiery guy, extremely intelligent, extremely loyal, will do anything for his team. Very good friends till this day. A lot of respect for him on and off the field. As great a coach as he is, he's a better guy off the field.
Do you see that team taking on his sort of, you know, I mean, everybody plays hard, right? Your team plays hard too, but in terms of just the grit, or maybe a little, what personality traits do you see transfer to his team?
You can see the mental toughness. It started last year, you know, when they hit stride mid-season, when they had lost a lot, and then they won a lot of ball games. They carried into this year. They never looked back, and Dan's that type of guy.
You mentioned grit. I mean, are there similarities at all between your teams, between kind of the toughness, backs against the wall, people not really giving you maybe the level of respect you felt like you deserved initially?
Well, when you lose ball games, I'm sure they feel like they have grit because they came on last year and they came on to be very tough, and they proved mentally tough this year. We got mentally tough this year. They probably got a year head start on us, but there's some similarities that way. But we're still two different teams, but it's just going to come down to who makes the less mistakes.
How would you describe
Couple more?
the defensive identity of your team?
I thought we've gotten tougher over the course of the past few weeks. Everybody's finally got back and playing at the same time. We've been subbing guys in and out of there. A lot of guys have been playing. If you add the young guys with that, there was a lot of consternation going on there. Communication's gotten a lot better. Everybody's trusting each other next to them, and they're playing for each other.
If you could sum up this team with one word this season, what would it be?
Prideful.
Todd, what are
Last
the
one.
challenges of facing a coach who does like to go for it on fourth down offense, will take a lot of risks there when getting around midfield, and you have to dig into more, thinking this offense could be a 4-down team versus a 3-down and get them off the field?
Well, the last year and a half has kind of been the norm. So whether it's this team or any other team, usually you get to around the 40-yard line, the minus 40 or 45, you plan on 4 downs unless it's fourth and forever. So you kind of prepare for it and you know it's coming.
Okay, thank you. Let's go.
Yeah.